Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to the channel. Today's video, I'm in GhostBSD, and I'm going to SSH in or use the secure shell to SSH into a VM, and we're going to install Arch Linux. This is GhostBSD, their homepage right here. This is a great website right here. How-to gives you just a ton of how-tos, and then when you get to the bottom, you can see more tips and tricks. One thing I found that is very interesting here is the etc folder. This is where we find system configuration files and scripts. If you go down to the scroll down until you see etc or etc, etc, SSH, you'll see open configuration files, and it says CSSH. If you click on that, it opens up the FreeBSD man page for SSH. You can learn a lot of stuff. This page, I don't know how this a big page. A lot of stuff. Tells you quite a bit about OpenSSH and how to use it, set up. You can be extremely granular, setting up only allowing certain IP addresses or bind addresses, interfaces. I mean, just all kind of stuff. And I made a little notes here. This is the web link you just saw right there. I'm going to scroll down here. SSH apparently was installed by default because I didn't install it. But in order to start it, you want to go into your rc.conf. Now, this is if you want to start it every time you boot your machine. You'll see mine right here at the bottom, sshd underscore enable equals yes. Now, because that's there, every time I reboot, it's going to start. Get out of here. I shouldn't have done that. Let's check the status of it right here. I believe I've got it disabled. I'm not sure. Let's find out. It's not running. So in order to start it, this is the command right here, etc rcd sshd start. You can also stop it that way. And you'll find this in the configuration files here. Here is where you're going to make if you want to get really detailed in the SSH, and I didn't use sudo, this was the sshd underscore config file will be where you do it. You can assign ports. You can just get really granular. I'm pretty sure I read where it uses GSSAPIs, and I didn't change anything in here. I didn't find the need to. If it hadn't worked, I would have, but it worked, so I didn't have to mess with anything. And I don't really need top security for something I'm going to use just one time and get away from it. Anyway, so we got the websites. We got enabling SSHD. Now, let's see. I've got it set up here in Celluloid, I believe this is. I went ahead and recorded this with Simple Screen Recorder. I shortened it down. This is the entire installation of Arch Linux, the base installation. And so I SSH'd into that, and you're going to witness that. So let me hit the play button. We'll go to F11 full screen. And we'll get started. Some of this I might just arrow key right and skip some of it. So we're booting in UEFI mode. Started OpenSSH daemon. I don't know if you saw that there or not. I'll try to point it out in the titles. So first thing I need is a legitimate IP address. And since I used a bridged adapter, I'm going to have one. Well, we're going to set up a password for root. We'll have to type that in twice. Okay. Now, I need to bring up my terminal. I'm going to go ahead and sign in as a super user. And let's SSH in the root. on the Arch VM. So SSH space root at your address, whatever your INET address is. All right, it's going to ask us for a fingerprint. We're going to say yes. We're going to give it the password. Now, this is the password to the remote machine. So I can minimize this and get this out of the picture. I'm going to fast forward here a little bit, skip forward. All right, I'm going to sync the databases first just to make sure I'm online. When I knew I was, but I just kind of do that. Yeah. First thing you're going to do is time date CTL. Now we're going to partition our disk using CF disk. And making sure it's SDA. SDA is in the command there. We're going to use the GPT partition label, and I'm going to skip forward one more time. Oop, I went too far. I want you to see that I had 4 partitions there. Well, we'll show it to you again. SDA1 is our EFI, SDA2 is root, SDA3 is swap, SDA4 is home. So we'll make a file system. Now, swap's not on SDA2, it's on SDA3. And we'll go ahead and turn it on while we're here. We're going to make a ext4 file system on SDA2, root drive partition. We're going to do that on 4, SDA4. Now we need to mount those. So I'm going to mount SDA2 to MNT. And now we'll make a directory of MNT home, our home directory. And now we're going to mount the SDA4 to mount home. All right. Now I'm going to do a little tweak, and I'm going to hit the arrow button here. We're in the pacman.conf file. And I'll re-sync the databases. Speed forward one more. 601 meg download, 1694 installation size. I'm going to speed this up, and I'm actually going to arrow one more time. I think it skips 10 seconds. Go through download. Now it's going to install that software. In our next command, we're going to generate a file system table. Now we're ready to arch to root, which means we're going to change directories from the USB or ISO to the VirtualBox hard drive. Move local time, add in our own local time. For me, it's America, Chicago. We're going to set our hardware clock. Now this is my basic install I've been doing now for a long time. And there's only one exception, and we'll get to that. And it's not really an exception, it's an addition. This is our locale. We're going to echo that into our locale.conf file. We're going to export it for anything that might want it. Now we got to do a host name, which is what your machine will be called. And we'll just call this UEFI, all caps, save and exit. Now we're going to go into our hosts, plural file. And we're going to copy and paste the host information here. And we did, the name of our machine is UEFI, all caps, and that'll go in this next line. So UEFI, period, local domain, tab, UEFI. Save that and exit. Now we need a password or a root. Now you created a password when we first booted into the ISO. It's okay with that. Just you can skip this step. All right, I'm going to edit my pacman.conf file one more time. This will be the last time. This time it's on the actual system. I like to turn mine down to 3, especially in a VM. And I'm going to get past that. I enabled multi-lib. Now we're going to add a user. And that user is going to be Dennis. No capitals. All right, those groups that I put myself in. Then I got a password. Now we're going to give ourselves some privileges since we're in the wheel group. Scrolling down, you'll find the uncomment to allow members of the group wheel to execute any command. We'll save and exit out of that. I'm going to update the repositories to sync repositories one more time. Enable the network manager. Now here, you'll see if you're on a Wi-Fi, this is a new addition to me. I've never had to do this before, but I am now. And so we're going to enable the WPA supplicant service. That's for our Wi-Fi. And if I was on Wi-Fi in this virtual box, I would copy and paste that. Now we're going to make init CPIO-P, and for the kernel, we got the Linux LTS, long-term support. Now I got to mount the SDA1. I never mounted it. Made a directory for that, boot EFI. Now if we list them out, list out our block devices or our hard drive, you'll see all our partitions. Now we're going to install grub in the EFI boot manager. Grub install. Grub make config. All right, we're ready. That's it. Now I'm remember I'm on GhostBSD. I've SSH'd into an Arch Linux installation and installed Arch Linux, the base. All right, we're going to shut down. I'm going to Control D to get myself out of all this. Terminal. And it's waiting on something. I'm going to hit enter and just say power off. Close out my notes. And we're going to remove the ISO. Start the VM back up. We have grub. And we're booted in. We're going to log in. First thing you should always do, any new installation, run an update. Give it the password. And nothing to do. So let's install NeoFetch just to say we installed something. All right, let's run NeoFetch. Arch Linux x64, x86-64. And that's pretty much it. That's how you do it using SSH. Move out of that. Close out of my notes. Yep, save it. And I'll make sure all these links get in the description below. I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a great day, night, whatever you do. Peace out, guys. Bye.